I'd like to welcome the guest of honor, Mr. Vivek Kalia, Head of Business Operations, Airbus India Training Center, who shall be talking to us today on understanding of business dynamics in line with Vision 2035.
The students, faculty members, and the distinguished fellow speakers and academicians who are presently seated. I think I feel pretty humbled uh, in front of you to be given, first of all, this opportunity to address on one of the quite a relevant subject in today's era, especially when we are in the post-pandemic world we are seeing. A lot of the things which are already my fellow speakers have already shared through their insights. Uh, you may find some of them as repetitive, but I will try to fill in the shoes to my best capacity out here. Last time, around 8 months ago, when I addressed some of the students out here, it was about the leadership dynamics. But now, I think I move on and I will be touching upon some insights about the business dynamics which are going to affect going forward, especially in line with the Vision 2035 today. I have read a beautiful quote from Winston Churchill which says, "To improve is to change, and to be perfect is to change often." Now, this very quote is secondly highlights the necessity of a positive change and a growth mindset to remain relevant not only as individuals but also as organizations. Now, the COVID-19 has brought in a lot of paradigm shift in the way we all have conducted business in the past and the way we will conduct business in the future. These 3 years have changed a lot of mindset, not only of the organizations, but the people who lead these organizations. The leaders across the world are taking immense steps not only to re-energize, but to reconnect with the people whom they lead. Aim is we can find out different ways to grow our businesses and to keep ourselves relevant. Now, every leader is trying to make their organization future ready and future proof. While no organization has yet cracked the code because the world is evolving at a much faster pace than we can imagine. But the experimentation is underway how to keep the companies future ready. Now, in order to achieve and embrace this change, which is being brought out not only through these situations like pandemics or the geopolitical situations which are ever changing, the companies have no time to lose in this regard. Now, but the benefit of this change is going to go to the first mover advantage. By seizing the initiative, the companies can rediscover, the organization unlocks and create a new system that are anti-fragile, more flexible, more organic, and are more purposeful and simply more connected to the people or the human. The organization and the leaders need to remain adaptive and agile in their future challenges, to these future changes. The organizations will need to be authentic in their approach, in their respective approaches, so that they remain competitive and also they remain adaptive. Now, having set the general tone and the pretext of the talk, in next few minutes I will just share some of the insights which I feel in my limited experience. I will share what are the few of the dynamics which will facilitate the success in this rapidly evolving professional landscape, which with the long-term vision of 2035. Few things which I'm going to speak on is about the organization culture, the structure, the organization's purpose, the learning mindset, which some of the other professors, Dr. Sandeep also spoke about, investing in the right human talent, and also having a agile and quick decision making which is there. I think these are no new things, especially to the professional sitting in front of me. These are no new things, but yes, I would still like to harp upon some of the points which are there. Especially, it may impact the students sitting in the last rows as they move on to their new assignments post their academic degrees. First and foremost, coming to the purpose. The purpose, people long to belong and they want to be part of something which is bigger than themselves. The companies which are fixated only on profits and are not fixated onto the people will lose their ground and will also lose the people whom they are leading. Because people need affiliation, people need social cohesion, people need purpose, and people need meaning to be part of an organization. So, any future ready organization has to accomplish this in the three ways: to get their purpose clear, and how this purpose will create value, and how they are unique as compared to other organizations. Now, to remain distinct from others, you have to create cultures. Now, the top performing organizations know that the purpose is the differentiating factor and is a must have. A strong held sense of purpose is a differentiating factor and it's a unique affirmation of the identity of the organization. And some places, some professionals will call it the why of the work. That is why we do the work. Now, these future ready organizations recognize that the purpose helps attract people to join the organization, remain there, grow there, and thrive their careers. Even for the investors, they draw the value proposition from the purpose of the organization. This can be achieved by making the purpose of the organization real for the people. It means they align with the purpose which is there. Make the goals which are there much more tangible to the organization. Do not just make it like a statement or just a catchy slogan on the emails. Try to make the goals, try to make what you stand for a little bit more defined for the people so that they can believe in it and then they can work towards it. Thus, investing in company's identity and the purpose is the key to move forward. Also, it is no new thing. I think COVID has taught us that yes, building a strong technology foundation is one thing which is a very essential thing, which was maybe a nice to have thing a few years earlier. No, it is not a nice to have thing, it's a compulsive necessity to have. Because COVID taught us that all organizations which were still finding their feet and were deciding to become a little bit more adaptive to the technology were left far behind the race as the pandemic hit. And the first mover advantage went to the people who were already investing in the strong technology base. Now, the data is the new currency, we all know. One of the common attributes of this digitally mature and future ready organization is a data driven culture or a structure, particularly to deliver experiences which are exceptional. Organizations must tap the benefits of a scalable cloud technology, which is part of the technology of a smart technology culture, and support this through having stable and data-driven policies which are safe and which ensures that the data which pours in much faster is also safe for the people to share. By seizing upon the data's ability to connect and scale, all these companies will be able to develop a new product and the services, and these products will be much faster scalable and will hit the market faster and will produce at the end of the day the profits for the companies. Thus, the bottom line remains that in times of crisis, the data business moves fast, the data pours in, and your ability to leverage it quickly is the difference between simply keeping your head above water or excelling at it and thriving the competition. In the morning talk, Dr. Sandeep mentioned, and even Dr. Tharoor mentioned about the learning skills which are there. At a cost of repetitiveness, I'll still harp upon the cognitive and the learning mindset which the individuals need to have. Now, this VUCA world has taught us not only the leaders but everyone in the organization needs to demonstrate not only the cognitive skills but also, as Dr. Sandeep said, the purple skills which are there. Cognitive skills, definitely, because cognitive skills are the ones which are the backbone, especially for the people who are stepping out into the professional world first time. Because your first career move is going to be based on your particular strength, not on your passion. So that is the place where your cognitive skills and your strengths are going to lie, and that is going to give you the first professional break in your careers. And all those people who are definitely in are part of their careers has scaled up. For them, I will say, and I'll borrow from Dr. Sandeep, the purple skills or the non-cognitive skills or the soft skills which are there, which are applicable not only to the leaders who are leading the organization, but also the professionals who are going to step up the managerial ladder or the leadership ladder state second. So develop a good mix of cognitive skills, because that will what will start to give you the advantage of results. But the non-cognitive skills or the soft skills which we call upon, and which a lot of business schools which are laying a lot of emphasis upon, those are like empathy, teaching about the team building, the communication skills which are there. Investing upon those particular skills is very, very important. If you start imbibing them at this stage and practicing them, I think you will have the advantage over the people who do not practice. Some of them come from the values and the virtues which your schools and your parents would have taught you, but some will come from some of the soft skill lectures which your professors even may give you. And for the leaders, it will come by practicing it not only while they deal with their respective colleagues or their subordinates or over with their superiors. So a good mix is required at both the levels, cognitive and non-cognitive skills. Next one, as I said, is the organization structure. Now, most organizations are hierarchy driven. It's evident. So I'm not against the organization structure or an organization chart. It will exist. But we need to understand that what is this particular organization structure or a chart driving at? Is it still relevant in the organization? If it is relevant, keep it. But more important than keeping it is adapt it. Because it is evident that the present organizations are a set of based on traditional hierarchies which are there. Now, these hierarchies existed probably when the first industrial revolution took place. So it was meant to provide clear lines of authority, and those were more top driven organizations which were there. But now the organizations are much more flatter, if you see, because the leaders do not only go to the n minus ones, they go right down to the people who are making those decisions. The leaders are going down to the people who are actually the people who are doing the right impact at moment, and that is what the right way to do is. Well, keep the organization structure which is there, but keep it adaptive, keep it agile, and keep it relevant to your respective organization, not because others have kept it. So the key takeaway is that we shouldn't expect these models to fit the purpose of today's environment. They are a mechanism by design built to solve uniformity, bureaucracy, and control. However, may not be fully aligned with the company's priorities or creativity, speed, and accountability. Thus, the answer is not to modify only the old models, but to replace them if required for the sake of organization's progress. Now, as I mentioned earlier about the organization's structure and organization's purpose. However, another clearly distinguishing factor is the organization's culture. I also learned this word about organization culture when I stepped into the corporate world, which is there. It's a quite a good buzzword, which is the culture, but it is a very very strong thing to have, because there are a lot of people who are initiating the entrepreneurship journeys, where they are building companies right from the scratch. Building a culture. Now, what does culture means? It is the way we conduct our business. It is the way we make our employees feel. It is the way we interact with, from between hierarchies, the way we interact. That is what the culture keeps the people aligned to themselves. It keeps it is like a magnet which gets the people back to work the next day. If you do not believe in if the organization culture is not aligned to your own purpose, you may not feel like coming back to the organization the next very day, which is there. So it is upon the leaders. This somehow I feel is a top-down approach. This is where it has to start topwards and it has to percolate down. But that is where people feel that yes, my superiors have probably given me a purpose and have given me the culture where I can probably approach any problem to them, kind of an open door policies which people are adopting nowadays. But it is much more than that. It is the way I think we conduct the things. Pandemic has shown us a lot of things where we have started giving the some kind of flexibility to the people to operate. We have created a lot of empathy with regards to how we deal with our employees, not only when the exits were performed during the pandemic, how the companies even perform those particular exits and let go the people also defined the company's culture, which is there. Whether it was just a chop of a blade, or it was done with an empathy and humility, which was there. Next come is investing in human, right mix of human capital. Now, the human factor behind any process or machine is an organization's biggest asset. I think I shared this thought with some of my colleagues whom I shared the morning taxi with. It takes time to groom and nurture human capital, irrespective of the phase of an organization it is in. That is a growth phase or a crisis phase. It is critical that we invest wisely in a good mix of talented workforce for our organizations and nurture them with good training and organization values. Once we have hired the right mix of human talent, it is time to nurture and grow them by imparting them the contemporary skills, the cognitive and the non-cognitive both, which I mentioned. Because we have to realize that the Gen Y and the millennials are a digitally empowered and aware generation. They are aware of their growth needs. They are agile, they are aware of the market trends, and they are growth savvy. Now, retaining such a talented workforce is always a challenge for the managers. But if the organization is able to match to their growth needs and ensure that all the efforts have been put in to retain a worthy talent, then as managers we would have done our job. We have to introspect and see that if a departing talent, have we done enough efforts to ensure that this talent was retained, not only through the means of maybe through the monetary means, but also how we make the employee feel about it. Did we invest sufficiently in their growth needs? If we have done that and still the talented workforce has moved on, it will happen because people will find different opportunities. But I think the effort will be on our side to ensure that we do that little extra work to ensure that a talented individual is found belonging to the organization, and the organization puts in that extra effort to retain that worthy talent. So the aim is to go beyond just the employee number or the numerics of appraisals. If we go beyond the employee number, you will see the actual, I would say, the actual contribution that employee is bringing on to the table. Because it is very difficult to retain talent. And Mr. Vikas is sitting here, and I can take the liberty of maybe saying it takes a lot of effort for a manager to get a worthy talent in this talent crunch world, which is there. So do put in that effort to ensure that a worthy talent is retained at our levels. Next, one thing which is very important for, I think, the leaders and the organizations, I have repeated it in my previous lecture also, is the strategies. Where do we strategize? Do we strategize only at the board level, or do we strategize at the grassroots level? No, I learned something during one of my courses which I did at tech school, and Professor Govindarajan spoke very well on this particular thing. I'm stealing some lines from him, where he said that maximum future strategies are made at the board level, but is it the right way? Strategies are made to tackle future issues, the future issues which are linked to the present problems. The people who are closest to the customer are the people who are working at the grassroots level. They are the ones who are closest to the customer's pain points. Take their inputs and make the strategies for the future. Because remember, no revolutions were started by the monarchs. They were all started by the commoners. So the leaders must keep their ears to the ground and maintain a ground level connection to obtain relevant inputs for the future of the organization. Such organizations where the teams have the say in the future strategies will have a greater success and a chance than those who follow only a top-down approach. And the last thing which I would like to share, as I mentioned earlier, is the decision-making agility of the organization, or the responsiveness of the organization and their leaders leading them. A leader is continually asked to make decisions with incomplete and variable data sets. The choices many times are not the wrong or the right, but the different degrees of good enoughs or the conflicting second and third choices. This draws many leaders into analysis paralysis, where a decision is delayed into non-existence because of the continual research or search for a perfect solution. The dynamic leaders know their worth is determined by the ability to properly analyze situations and take deliberate and calculated risks to move the teams forward. Agility in decision making is key to any leader. Perfect solutions will take time, but give the direction to the team to start moving in the right direction. Thereafter, keep fine-tuning your decisions before you arrive at the perfect solution. I had given this example in my previous talk about when I was in the Navy. I was commanding a ship, and that's the time when maneuvers used to come. I was commanding a ship which was a 7,000-ton amphibious vessel. It used to take time to move. When the rudder is given, the mammoth takes time by the time it starts turning. But that's only thing which has to, so as to remain in line with the formation which is moving, which is a formation of 20 ships which is moving, has to just give a wheel over to the right direction. And thereafter tell my navigating officer just to ensure that calculate the course to steer and give me that. So it used to buy me 1 minute, it used to buy my navigating officer 1 minute of time, but the ship has already started moving in the direction. And then as soon as the perfect solution is given, steady on that particular course. It used to save me and my ship those precious 2 minutes which is there. This is just an example which I thought may be relevant to the insight which I shared. So I practice it, and that's why I thought I'll share it with you. So these were some of the, I think, there are many more things which progressive organizations can do. This list is endless. It all depends on the leaders and the people who are part of the organizations. But these are some of the few relevant ones which I thought that I would like to share with you all, which will drive the business in the future. As companies face up to the uncertain post-crisis landscape, I would like to recall Albert Einstein's encouragement that in the midst of every crisis lies opportunity. As organizations move from a mindset of coping one to competing, the best companies will seize the unique, unfreezing opportunity before them to imagine and create new systems and modes of organizations to be more flexible, integrated, resilient, and ultimately more humane. These organizations will view themselves as interconnected systems that seek to constantly experiment, fail, learn, grow, and start the process afresh again, inevitably. And to the leaders who are leading this change and leading the change in the organization, I would say make a difference through your position or the authority and use it wisely, as your actions can make a difference for the people who look up to you. Be the best role model as someone in your organization is trying to emulate your actions and conduct. You're a leader and you're thus open to judgment and scrutiny by others. This is the price you pay for the extra perks which you enjoy in your organization. Hence, have your conduct so flawless that it leaves a positive imprint in the people's mind and a great legacy for the people to follow. Thank you.